Picture this, a glittering evening at Buckingham Palace, chandeliers shimmer, classical music flows through the corridors, and the air is filled with polite laughter, polished shoes, and royal pageantry. But under all that glamour, something far uglier was unraveling, something that would pit the future king against the current queen in a brutal showdown nobody saw coming. Camilla looked stunning, no doubt about it, draped in deep green silk, sipping wine, and working the room like a seasoned politician. But behind that composed smile was a brewing storm of jealousy and resentment. All eyes weren't on her, they were on Princess Charlotte, just 10 years old but already glowing with the kind of charm and innocence that made her beloved across Britain. And Camilla hated that. Hated that the spotlight had shifted, that her years of clawing her way up the royal ranks were now being eclipsed by a child with golden hair and pure heart. Charlotte was laughing, holding a bouquet she'd just received, standing beside her mother, Kate. She looked like a symbol of a brighter future, of a monarchy with heart. Camilla, watching from across the room, didn't see a child. She saw a threat, and in that moment, something snapped. When Charlotte stepped into a quieter hallway near the reception area, Camilla followed. No guards, no cameras, just a flickering candle and a corridor where truth could be twisted. She knelt down beside Charlotte, voice sugary and soft, but words sharpened like knives. "You know your parents only care about George, right?" she whispered. "He's the future king. You'll always be second." Those words were cruel, way too cruel for any adult to say to a kid. Charlotte's face crumpled in confusion and hurt, but she stood her ground. "You're lying!" she snapped back, voice trembling but loud. And that's when Camilla played her real card. The second guests started turning their heads at Charlotte's raised voice. Camilla straightened up and loudly announced, "A princess who lacks manners. How shameful." Boom, just like that, the narrative flipped. By the time William turned around, it was already too late. Guests had seen Charlotte upset, Camilla acting wounded, and whispers had begun. Whispers that turned into headlines the next morning. Princess Charlotte's public outburst, royal parenting crisis. William didn't sleep that night. Neither did Kate. Their daughter had been humiliated, twisted into a tabloid villain over something she didn't do. At breakfast the next morning, Charlotte sat with red eyes and a cold bowl of oatmeal, still too shaken to eat. Kate comforted her gently, and William, he boiled. Newspapers were calling them unfit parents. Social media trolls were blaming a 10-year-old for shaming the monarchy. But the worst part? Charlotte looked up at her dad and whispered, "I didn't do anything wrong." That crushed him. And then came the turning point. A soft knock at William's private office door later that morning revealed someone unexpected. Mary, an elderly palace maid who had been around since the days of Queen Elizabeth. She had seen it all, served generations, and she had something to say. She had overheard everything. Camilla's whisper to Charlotte, the manipulation, the calculated timing, even her instructions to a servant. Make sure people hear the girl scream. That's all they need. Mary trembled as she spoke, but her words were solid. William listened in silence, and as the truth came into focus, so did his decision. This wasn't just a family disagreement anymore. It was war. William walked to the window that morning and stared out at the palace courtyard. He knew what had to be done. If Camilla wanted a fight, she just declared it against the wrong person. Because this wasn't just about Charlotte anymore. This was about the future of the crown. The palace felt colder that day, like the stone walls themselves had caught wind of what was about to unfold. William moved with purpose, no longer the polite prince walking behind protocol, but a man who'd been pushed too far. He didn't tell Camilla he was coming, he just opened the doors to her private study and walked in. I was lounging with a glass of red, acting like nothing had happened. Her eyes flicked up lazily. "William," she said, smirking, "to what do I owe the pleasure?" He shut the door behind him. No guards, no advisors, just the two of them. "You crossed a line," he said flatly. "You humiliated my daughter, you lied, and you're going to pay for it." Camilla stood, her wine untouched now. "You're being dramatic," she replied, brushing imaginary lint off her dress. "If your daughter can't handle a little criticism—" "She's 10, he snapped. "You twisted her words. You turned a room full of donors into a theater and made her the show. so? For a moment, Camilla's face lost its smugness, but she quickly recovered, stepping closer, her voice low and poisonous. You don't have proof. All you've got is a child's tears and a maid's loyalty. That won't survive 5 seconds in the court of public opinion. I've played this game longer than you've been a father. William didn't blink. I don't need your approval, Camilla. I need results. And trust me, I've already started. Hours later, the royal council met in private. No fanfare, no media. Just William, a few trusted advisors, and one massive problem that had been sitting quietly for years. Tom Parker Bowles. Camilla's son had always been a sore spot in the royal structure. He wasn't officially royal, but he was certainly treated like it. Lavish privileges, shady business deals, whispered rumors about misused charity funds. None of it new, but William had never gone after him until now. The investigation moved fast. William's team uncovered email chains, shell companies, and fraudulent contracts tied to royal charities. Money meant for children's hospitals and educational scholarships had been rerouted through offshore accounts. It wasn't just unethical, it was criminal, and it was exactly what William needed. At a closed-door emergency meeting, he laid the evidence out like cards on a table. This is no longer about politics, he told the council. It's about integrity. Tom used this institution to enrich himself. That ends today. He didn't mention Camilla by name, but he didn't need to. Everyone understood the connection. When the vote came to strip Tom of his honorary roles and sever all palace ties, not a single hand opposed. Camilla was in the hallway when the decision leaked. For the first time, her mask cracked. She lashed out within hours, calling in favors from the tabloids. Headlines hit the presses before midnight. William targets Queen's son in personal feud, and Camilla's family under siege. Social media exploded. Royal fans split into camps. Conspiracy theories spread like wildfire. Inside the palace, Kate watched the chaos unfold with a growing sense of dread. She's fighting back, she said, eyes scanning the headlines. No, William replied, but she doesn't know what's coming next. Because James, the young technician from the palace's security team, had found something that even Camilla didn't know existed. A video, unedited, undeniable. A hallway camera, long forgotten, had caught everything. Charlotte, Camilla! Every word, every calculated movement. William watched it in silence, then stood. This ends now. The royal council chamber sat heavy with silence, its arched ceilings and towering windows doing little to soften the tension in the room. The long oak table was surrounded by dukes, lords, advisors, and the king himself. Camilla entered late, wearing deep plum and false confidence. She held her head high, but her eyes darted, searching for allies that no longer looked back. William stood already, no introduction, no preamble. He spoke clearly. There is a truth the public hasn't seen. You all deserve to witness it before you decide what kind of legacy we leave behind. He gestured toward the screen. The room dimmed. A click echoed and the video began. Grainy, but clear. A hallway bathed in golden candlelight. Camilla approaching Charlotte. The slow bend of her body. The poisonous words. You'll never matter to anyone. Gasps broke across the room. Then came Charlotte's voice, small but fierce. You're lying. My parents love me. The shift. Camilla standing up, voice loud, feigning shock. How shameful. The room froze. When the lights came back on, no one looked at Camilla. Her face was pale, lips parted, hands clenched in her lap. Whatever illusions she had clung to were gone now, shattered by her own voice, and the damning clarity of a camera she never knew was there. William didn't gloat. He didn't need to. He simply said, someone who manipulates a child for power cannot sit at the heart of this family, not anymore. Camilla's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Her gaze shot to Charles, who sat stone still at the head of the table. His face was hollow, drained of fight, but when he finally stood, all eyes turned. Camilla, he said quietly, I stood by you when the world judged us. I defended you. But what you've done here, that is not defensible. Not as a husband, not as a king. He paused, his voice strained but steady. You will step down from all public duties. Effective immediately. Your title remains, but your influence ends here. The gavel never came down. There was no formal vote, just silence, agreement, and then the scraping of chairs as the meeting ended without fanfare. Camilla left alone. The next morning, a black car waited outside the palace. No reporters, no royal wave, just the quiet packing of bags and a queen stepping down in disgrace. She was taken to a remote estate in Wiltshire where no cameras waited, no crowds gathered. Her exile was silent. William didn't speak to the press. He didn't need to. The video was leaked to the public through official channels. It played on every major network, trended on every platform. The backlash was instant and massive. Hashtags flipped overnight from royal scandal to justice for Charlotte. Newspapers rewrote their headlines. A queen's fall read one. The princess who spoke the truth read another. And the public, once divided, rallied behind William's family like never before. A week later, the palace held its first public charity event since the fallout. William, Kate, and Charlotte arrived together. This time, no whispers, no doubt, just applause. Charlotte walked proudly beside her parents, head high. When William spoke, his voice was calm but unmistakably firm. The royal family must be more than tradition and titles. It must be a reflection of truth, courage, and love. My daughter showed all three. The crowd erupted. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the palace, William stood in the garden, watching Charlotte play with Kate nearby. He knew there would be more storms ahead. The crown came with weight. But as Charlotte laughed, spinning barefoot through the grass, he felt something stronger than duty. He felt peace. He had protected what mattered most, and in doing so, he'd rewritten the legacy of the monarchy itself.